Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 232. My name's Adam Patterson. Joining me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. How you doing there, Kevin?
I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. Can't complain. Don't you always hate it? Because you know the proper way to say it is I'm doing well. You know, how are you? I'm doing well. But it's just such a common thing to say I'm doing good. So anytime, just I try to say well, but a lot of times it just doesn't feel right to say well. So sometimes somebody will be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'll be like, "I'm doing pretty good." I mean, how are you? And they're like, "Oh, I'm well." And it makes me feel like they're condescending me. Like they're
You know
doing
what I like to do?
Like they're doing it the right way.
This is something that I actually do if you go back and listen to the podcast, because I know all about this. Doing well is the correct way. I just switch it up. I just keep you on your toes. Sometimes I'll say well, sometimes I'll say good.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Because I don't care. It's stupid. It's such a stupid thing. Because I have met people that are like, you're supposed to say well. Good is grammatically incorrect. And you're just like, shut the fuck up. We're conversing. Grammar's not a thing when you're conversing. Like, if you can understand what I'm saying, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Trash people.
All right. Grammar lesson out of the way.
It's an odd start to the show.
This is just an observation. I don't know. I feel like pointing it out. This week on the show, we'll be reviewing Paul Verhoeven's latest Elle, along with Linas Phillips' Rainbow Time.
It's such an odd pairing.
It is. It really is. Very serious drama. And
so it makes sense to have an odd start to the show.
Yeah. Yeah. It fits. We'll also be talking about some we've been watching on the watch list, along with movie predictions, new on video on demand, Blu-ray releases. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I was thinking we could just dive right into our first review. What do you think?
Let's do it. Let's get it.
Let's start off with Rainbow Time.
All right.
Let's do that one first.
Good choice.
This is written and directed by Linas Phillips. It stars Linas Phillips, Melanie Lynskey, Tim Sharp, and there's a whole slew of cameos in there. Also, Tobin Bell's in there too, playing the dad. Great role for him, by the way.
Tobin Bell.
Tobin Bell, the guy from Saw.
Should I know Tobin Bell?
Yeah, he's Jigsaw.
Oh, I never saw Saw.
You'd have a greater appreciation if you saw it. At any rate,
yeah, because I'm like, oh my god, Tobin Bell.
He's great. He's the dad. I have a synopsis here.
Sure, yeah.
A developmentally delayed 40-year-old man named Shanzi is sent to live with his brother, Todd. But when Shanzi develops a crush on Todd's new girlfriend, Lindsay, he threatens to reveal past secrets that could ultimately tear the couple apart.
Oh boy.
I think I will start this one off. I actually don't have a whole lot to say about this one. So first of all, the first thing you have to note, when you see Linas Phillips on screen, he looks like a mentally challenged person. So much so that I couldn't tell, and the question kept going through my mind throughout the whole movie: is this offensive? Is this movie offensive? I can't
offensive
really
on so many different levels.
I can't really like. I don't know how to wrap my head around what's going on, because he doesn't have Down syndrome, but the way that they made him up, he looks like he has Down syndrome.
Well, and this is one of the first things that pisses me off about this movie, is they justify it two ways. Number one is that he has a condition where in the womb, umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck, brain wasn't getting oxygen. That's like the bulk of what you're dealing with here in his developmentally challenged. The fact that his brother doesn't even know what that's called, he's just like, oh, he's got an umbilical cord or something, that's what did it. The guy's 40 years old. I think you would know like the name of his condition, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you would have that on lock, that if your girlfriend asks you, be like, oh yeah, he suffers from this. This is the technical name for it.
Right.
That way, if you shall choose to, you can Google it real quick. Take it a step further, and they're like, and the way I see this is them essentially making an excuse to make him whatever, because they can add to it that, oh yeah, I ran over his head when he was a kid because I was playing my dad's car, which gave them like just
carte blanche.
creative license to like, because there's no precedent, you know. Who can you point to and be like, well, this is how this person should be?
Yeah.
Because this person also suffered from lack of oxygen because of umbilical cord, plus their head was run over when they were little. So they essentially they're like, hey, we can make this character whatever, and we can excuse it because his head was run over.
Yeah, and that was kind of the one of the big issues I had with this is that there were a lot of funny moments. There were a lot of moments that made me laugh, but I was like, this feels somehow mean-spirited, and I don't know if I should be laughing at this. It was funny, but I don't know.
I don't know about you, but for me, like within the first couple of minutes of this movie, I'm just like, why? Who thought that this was a good idea? Like,
Well,
how did money get filtered into this production? People got on board, and no one at any point was like, you know what? I don't think we should do this.
I don't know if this is such a good idea, guys.
Yeah, I mean, because we're just talking about the Shanzi character. It's like they layer it. Because you have the Tim Sharp who plays the brother Todd, who has this like weird like kink fetish thing of like videotaping sex with his girlfriends and shows it to his brother.
Yeah.
So that becomes a whole thing. Shanzi, of course, is for some reason just sex obsessed. Like he's disgusting. Like looks and talks about his niece.
Yeah,
It's
that
just,
was
there's so many.
That was a little.
So
that was very creepy.
There's so many things to this movie where you're just like, what the fuck? How is this a movie? Why?
Know.
Who thought that this was a good idea?
Apparently, the Duplass brothers did.
Another thing, there's not that many people that have like seen and written reviews about this, but every single thing that I've read about this movie, the first two paragraphs are about the Duplass brothers.
No, one of them's in it.
Yeah.
For a little bit.
One is in
Jay, and they produced it, but yeah, I think that's probably as far as it goes.
Just terrible decisions here. This movie pissed me off.
Well, setting aside okay, that was what I was looking for.
I hate this fucking movie. This is disgusting.
I feel like if you can get past the offensiveness of it, I didn't mind it. I thought it was
even more so. Shanzi's character at one point he videotapes them, his brother Todd.
Mm-hmm.
And then that becomes a whole thing. And then that whole storyline too just irritated the shit out of me. Where it's just like, why is he showing these things to Shanzi? And he kind of explains it towards the end where he's like, oh, he's in a really dark place. Get him out. But what the fuck? Like, porn exists. You can just show Shanzi porn.
Yeah, I know. To show porn with your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, like that's... And then there's the whole thing of... just her wanted it to be deleted and he doesn't do it, and then the dad's like, oh, you just gotta love people for who they are. I'm like, no, your boyfriend's disgusting.
That's just one of his things, man.
Yeah, and then they fucking tied up with a bow where she like kind of shows up at the end. She's like, I forgive you. And he even says that like, oh, I do this to exert control over my relationships. So you do it to control the woman that you're in the relationship with.
Yeah, seems that way. And she was cool with it because she had her oils.
She had
her essential oils and crystals.
Yeah, well, it's just, oh my god.
So there was also this whole making a movie thing too with Shanzi.
Which, oddly enough, that was the only thing that I was like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, but even that to me got to inappropriate levels, especially what they did at the end. It's like, how would he be like, yeah, let's do this? Like, I'd be like, no, that's gross. We're not doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Your relationship with your brother is very bizarre. Like, they need therapy. They need, like, just shut it down, go to therapy, because there's just some weird shit going on.
Yeah, I like Tim Sharp. I was trying to figure out where I knew him from, and I realized it was from Enlightened on HBO.
Okay, because I was thinking the same thing. He looks so familiar. I've seen Enlightened.
It's good. It's good stuff.
I don't know where I know him from.
He was on that the Undeclared, the Judd Apatow show. That
I know him from Rainbow Time.
I don't know. Did any of it make you laugh, or were you too angry to laugh?
thing that made me laugh.
There were a number of moments that made me laugh, but for the life of me, I cannot remember them specifically.
The only thing I slightly remember is when she was saying that Todd's sunglasses look great. So of course Shanzi had to switch them up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the immediate next scene where he walks in with a different sunglass and just Todd off camera, like, oh, you can't have continuity. That got a chuckle.
Yeah, there were a number of things that made me laugh. I thought Linus Phillips was funny. I just didn't know if I just didn't know if I should be laughing at this. It just seemed wrong in a way.
It's so with Artemis, who plays Justine, where they kind of do this like use with because there's this whole thing about catcalling.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, so they're making a video about catcalling, and he's interviewing all these ladies, and then he's asked to interview Artemis, and he's so unbelievably rude.
Yeah.
And just
oh my god, that was so cringeworthy. That
essentially just calls her ugly, and he's like, "There's no way people catcall you. You're ugly." And in the fucking movie, he bumps into Artemis, and she's just like, "Oh, we're gonna be hanging out," and they're just like best of buds, like.
Well, see
the relationship together.
See, Kevin. The thing was, she's kooky too. She's kooky, God. And he's kooky, and they're gonna make one kooky couple.
Oh my god!
Because she has a corgi, a disabled corgi named Pizza?
Pizza. Corgi in a wheelchair named Pizza. Go fuck yourself, Rainbow Time. It's not. Zoom is still the worst movie I've seen this year.
Rainbow Time's a close second. What about Moonwalkers?
This is worse than Moonwalkers.
Wow.
Too. I mean, you know how much I hated Moonwalkers. But early on, too, I'm just thinking, like, you get into it, it starts up, 5 minutes into it, and you're just like, I gotta spend an hour and like an hour and a half with this Shanzi. Like, I don't want to do this. This is not what I want to do.
Yeah, I guess it just comes down to the Shanzi character, because if you're not on board with the Shans,
I don't know.
You're going to have a big problem.
I actually don't know what's more offensive, the Shanzi character or the whole Todd
and his relationship.
And he's like, oh, this is how I control the relationship. Kind of like putting it on her that it's her fault and making her feel bad about it. And then he's like, I'm going to show my sex tapes to my brother. It's just, I don't know which one it is. There's a part of me that thinks Todd's the worst out of this character.
Maybe.
It's tough. It's neck and neck.
Maybe, yeah. All right. Well, that's Rainbow Time. You can see that on VOD right now if you'd like.
Don't do that. Don't give this movie money. People produced it.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and give this a score. I'm going to say 4.5 on this one. I'm
going to give it a 1. Give it a 1.
That's a shame.
I mean, he does a really good Lithuanian Christopher Walken. I think that's all he can do.
What did you think about the Robert Longstreet cameo?
That was just, at that point in time, I was just like, no, Longstreet, no.
You're already checked out.
And same with Predator.
Predator.
Showing up in there too. It's just like, oh God, guys, why did you agree to do this?
I'm wondering how you'd feel about Manson Family Vacation, the one with him and Jay Duplass. It was an interesting one. All right, so that's Rainbow Time. Not very glowing reviews coming from here. Again, it made me laugh a few times. Didn't despise it like Kevin did here. So let's talk about Elle.
Let's do it.
So this is directed by Paul Verhoeven. I have a synopsis here. A successful businesswoman gets caught up in a game of cat and mouse as she tracks down the unknown man who raped her. This stars Isabelle Huppert. Kevin, we'll start it with you. What did you think of Elle?
Ooh, this one is maybe a bit too fresh.
Still processing?
Yeah, still processing. So I'm going to throw that out there, that I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this, but just going from the initial experience of, the viewing experience of it, I found it very interesting.
So I had the opportunity to see this maybe a week ago now, a little bit ago. So I'm a little bit removed from it. And I will say that I kind of felt like how you did after my initial viewing. And I was thinking like, man, I really got to let this one settle with me. But it is definitely one that stuck with me over time. And as I think about it more and more, I realize like this is probably going to be one of my top movies of the year. It's up there for me. I was just so I was just kind of it hooked me. The movie hooked me on pretty early, and I was just kind of enthralled by this story about this woman who owns a video game company, and she just her actions are so befuddling at times, but also at the same time just go play right into who this character is. And I like movies that have really complex characters, and I felt like Isabelle Huppert's character of Elle was she was a really complex character. Like you didn't really
She was tough to pin down.
yeah, like you got the broad strokes. You know, she is a very powerful, very domineering woman because they let that. I mean, the first scene. So I mean, it's not a huge spoiler to say that the opening scene is her being attacked, or right after she's attacked, and
Yeah.
just how what she does, how she gets up, she cleans up, she composes herself, and she moves on. Like it was just not a big deal at all.
Hmm.
And that kind of sets the stage for who this character is. She's this she doesn't have time for stuff like that. Like she's not gonna she doesn't have time to be messing around with that. And it's just so funny how her work life and her personal life just kind of bleed together, and how she handles relationships, and how she doesn't really have a boyfriend or a husband. She has these like suitors, and it's just she's just such an interesting character to spend time with. Like she's not likable.
She's going after this married man. No, but at
She's
the same time, she kind of is.
yeah, she's not likable, but
She's kind of like a badass.
she is, and she's not likable, but she's not inherently dislikable either.
No, but at the same time, you're just kind of like there's several points throughout the movie where she does something, you just kind of like tip your cap to her, like, damn, wish I had the balls to do that.
Yeah, she is a badass. She's very honest and frank. She's a very earnest character, and just how she's take charge.
Which is
She doesn't fuck around.
because towards the end of the movie, there's this certain time towards the end where she kind of just lying anymore, and you're just like, damn, I thought you weren't to begin with. Like, what's this new version going to be?
Yeah,
And she's just doling out truth left and right, and you're like, good lord, badass to begin with, but Jesus, you just took it up a notch.
I think you have to be kind of a badass to be a female and an owner of a video game company. Like that's I think you have to have pretty thick skin to do that.
It's a really interesting film.
It
I'm
is.
still just not 100% sure
It's a
how I
difficult film. It's a challenging film. It's definitely not one because at first, like I said, they open with the direct aftermath of her being attacked in her home, and
Yeah.
she's pretty brutally raped. And I was like, oh, Verhoeven's that's it. We're not going to come back to it. I mean, obviously the ramifications of this are going to be seen throughout the movie, but that was like kind of an interesting way of showing this because we didn't see the actual attack, but he comes back to it multiple times, and you're just like, oh. And then when like in the synopsis, when they start mentioning this whole cat and mouse thing, when that starts coming into play, and her attacker comes back, and you're trying to figure out who it is, and she's trying to figure it out, but at the same time, it's like she doesn't even really care who it is.
Yeah, she makes some interesting decisions.
Well, yeah, because I feel like anything else I say about it will be giving too much away. Because there is a little bit of a mystery element too. Like you're trying to figure out who this person is because it seems, or like early on, that it's someone she knows. So,
Yeah.
so you're trying to figure out is it one of the people she works with? Is it a family friend, or like is it another person? Because she's not very well liked even in her own circle of friends and coworkers.
Yeah. She has a very small group of people that seem to,
Tolerate her.
think of her fondly. It's just, yeah, and then you throw in there's the whole side thing of like her father being a serial killer.
Oh yeah.
And
That
that plays into kind of like gives you an idea of like why she is who she is.
and not only that, but there were kind of a lot of people thought that she was somehow involved. So even
Yeah.
though she was exonerated and not really implicated in any of the killings, a lot of people in the town still believed that she was somehow taking part of these killings because of a picture that was taken when the guy was arrested, when her dad was arrested. So that kind of makes her even more kind of villainized.
Yeah, which I think kind of plays into it too. If you kind of think back throughout the movie, she kind of got caught up in the, like when her dad came home and they burned down the house and they're burning everything. She didn't quite understand what was going on. She just kind of got caught up in it.
Right. She didn't.
And then to try and through like all of her interactions with most of the males in this movie is her like essentially trying to repair their pride in a way.
Yeah.
Because so many of them are just like, they're downtrodden and she's trying to like pick them back up. Like that's her role.
Right, because you have her relationship with her son, her father, who she hasn't seen in years and years. He's dying in prison. And then you have this man she's having an affair with. And then there's a neighbor who, the neighbor doesn't really seem distraught, I guess. Maybe she sees something in him. Maybe she feels that he's missing something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's kind of interesting how, and then also the people that she works with too, how she finds people to kind of support.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of this movie because I think a lot of this comes down to Hubert's performance. I'm just like, I don't know if it would work without her.
I don't.
Tailor-made for this role, that coldness.
Yeah,
I think she just nails it.
I feel like this probably was something that very few actresses could pull off because, like you said, there is this coldness, but there's also this kind of motherly quality to her where there's
which is also interesting because she even kind of questions herself as a mother.
Yeah, there's these small moments. They're almost humorous moments, like how she interacts with her cat, for instance, where it sort of humanizes her, and you realize like she's not a stone cold, emotionless, evil person or anything like that. And I liked those small moments of levity too.
Yeah, it's something else.
And I didn't know
you. I got hooked early, and I found it compelling throughout.
And it's over 2 hours long, but like I briefly say on this week's Ryan Watches a Movie, to me it didn't feel that length.
No, I didn't either.
Which is interesting.
Which was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, because when you have movies like this where you don't really know where it's going, a lot of times a longer length you really start to feel that. But for me, I was just so invested in where this narrative was going, and specifically the character of Elle, and just especially because when you find out who the attacker is, there's so much more that happens after that, and after she figures out who it is, it gets even crazier, and you're just like, what is happening here? There's a lot of really unexpected things that happen in this movie.
Yeah, it's man, I don't really know what else to say besides like it's something. it's something.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is something.
I was quite surprised. I got to be honest.
You didn't expect much?
I thought I would probably find it relatively interesting, but I just thought it would, it wouldn't be really my thing.
That's kind of how I expected going into it. The only reason there's really only two reasons that I even gave it a look, and that's Verhoeven and Hubert. Like those two people made me want to seek this out.
Just some of her, the way that she responds to things, like I might not fire you. I'm just like, damn.
Just how deadpan and brutally honest she is.
It's like, Jesus Christ. And then she just fucking waltzes out of the room, just walks out, or just walks out.
Yeah, she knows she's a badass.
Shit.
All right. Any final thoughts on Elle?
I don't know if I had initial thoughts, let alone final thoughts. I'm still just I'm adrift.
Well, maybe we'll follow up with you next week and see what your final thoughts are.
I will say this: it's nice to have reaction to a film. It's been a little while, for something that kind of like where you're kind of just taken off guard. You're kind of sitting with it, and you're like, I don't know exactly how I feel about this film. I know I enjoyed it while I watched it, but I'm not sure what to think of it. I don't think we've had too many of those this
Is it?
year in
Yeah,
2016,
yeah,
unfortunately.
I would definitely agree. It is a challenging film for sure. Let's go ahead and give Elle a score. Kevin, what are you going to give it?
Oh Jesus. I'll say like a 7.5, 8.
I'm sitting at an 8 or 8.5 on this one. I think I'm gonna stay with the 8.5. I'm gonna stand with the 8.5 on this one. The longer it sat with me, the more I kind of enjoyed it. Not enjoyed it, but appreciated it, I guess.
Yeah. So you think in like a week's time I'll be up to 8.5?
I would think so, yeah, because it sticks with you. It's one that it lingers. You think about it. At least I did.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about it.
And I also kind of want to watch it again now that I know all of the secrets,
Yeah.
so that I can watch it kind of fresh, already knowing all the twists, and then I can just kind of watch it for the character, not be thinking about, oh, well, who is it? Is it this guy? Who is it?
Yeah, kind of focus on her a little bit more.
Also, I just really enjoyed it, so just kind of want to see it again for fun. At least as fun as
Yeah.
a film
The,
about somebody getting brutalized.
yeah, the non-rape parts.
Yeah, of course, because that was difficult.
Yeah, that was a big concern going in.
Anytime I
And
know.
I was so happy with the initial.
Yeah, same here.
This is like, oh, thank goodness I didn't have to watch it. Gee, god damn it! I thought we got away.
I think that's the one good thing about seeing Irreversible is that after you see Irreversible, everything else
You're
doesn't seem quite as bad. Like you can
just
handle
thinking, there's
everything
no
else.
way it can be worse than that.
Exactly.
Mm.
Not that I'm recommending that movie to anyone. All right, let's move on and talk about some we've been watching on the watch list. I think I'll start it off this week. I saw Under the Shadow. This is directed by Babak Anvari. So this is a really interesting horror film. It's about it takes place in Iran, and it's during the war in, I think it was the year 86. It was in the 80s when Iraq was bombing Iran, and basically the film follows a mother and daughter, and their husband, he is a doctor, I believe, and he has to leave the city. It takes place in Tehran. He has to leave the city for work, and she is left to take care of the daughter. And things, as the violence begins to escalate, the threat of bombing escalates. Some strange things start to happen in their home, and eventually you find out that there's something that is possibly haunting their home. It's a creepy little movie. It's a very, very slow burn.
Nice.
I'm doing an absolutely terrible time describing it, but it's well worth a look if you like very slow burn movies. I mean, this isn't even, I would hardly even call this a horror movie because the scares are so few and far between, but I still would classify it as a horror movie because what the director does in this, what he achieves is this level of dread that just continuously builds and builds and builds, and you don't know where things are going to go. And I can't even quite put my finger on it, but the entire time that I was watching this movie, I just had this kind of uneasy feeling with it. And he just builds the tension in such a way that it's just so effective. I mean, there's a few jump scares in it, but not that many. And he really relies on the tension and the idea that these people are not safe, even in their own home. They could be bombed at any moment. And it's just, it's a really, really interesting movie. I highly recommend it. Again, it's called Under the Shadow.
I'm glad to hear that because that's one I've been waiting to see.
You just have to go into it with the right kind of expectations, because it's very slow. Like, not a whole lot happens in this movie. Even at the end, a lot of these movies have a build up and then a big crescendo at the end. This, not so much. You really just have to be kind of invested in the characters and what they're trying to represent here. It's a lot of people compare it to the Babadook, and I sort of see that,
but not fully.
No, not fully. The Babadook's it's just the way that they present the horror in the Babadook is different. It's not like there's a specific boogeyman in this.
Yeah. Would you say that? Because to me, I found the thing that kind of surprised me or slightly disappointed me with the Babadook is I kind of went in with this expectation that it would be kind of different, because that's kind of what I was hearing, but it kind of felt like it felt traditional in a way.
Yeah, this one feels different in that I don't think that it's really presented as a horror movie. It doesn't feel like a horror movie. It doesn't have a lot of those tropes. It just feels like a drama.
Okay.
It feels like a drama about these two people in this kind of war-torn area, and the distinct fear that you have in knowing that at any moment your life could be lost.
Yeah.
And having no control over that, or very little control.
But
it's great. Great. Yeah.
I watched a documentary. This is the Academy Award nominee from 2006, Iraq and Fragments, from James Longley. This is quite a good documentary. Kind of has like I think it's about three people that he kind of follows around. He just kind of like films for 2 years. He just kind of follows these people around. More of like your cinema verte style documentary, where you're just kind of following families around, and it just paints this portrait of this war-torn country, and he's with the Sunnis, he's with the Shiites, he's with the Kurds, so he kind of spends time with each of the different population there, and it just gives you this maybe something that you don't normally see that's presented through the news. And it's just unbelievably enthralling just to watch. It's so interesting.
Interesting.
Because you're just seeing a part of the world and the way in which they live and what they had to deal with, and it's just, you kind of have this that it's kind of that most populations are the same everywhere. Like, people are just trying to live a life and enjoy themselves and take care of their families, and then just to see some of these things is just
yeah. It's easy to forget that most people are just trying to get up and go to work and come home to their family and live normal lives. Especially in areas like Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah. Kids, because he spends a lot of time with kids actually, and like it's them going to school, and it's essentially everyone around them, like all the adults that are around them, the teachers, everyone. It's just like, you're a failure. Stop going to school. School is nothing. You're not going to be able to do it. Just give up. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. It's already bad enough that you're in a war-torn country, but, even the adults around you are like, it's not worth it. You're not going to be able to do it. And it's just like, God, and they're young. I'm not talking like high school kids. I'm talking like young kids.
Sounds like it's like our high school guidance counselors.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, give up, get a job. You're worthless. And it's like, holy shit, kids.
All right. I saw Rats. It's a
that the rat doc?
Yeah.
The rat documentary?
It is, yeah.
Oh, boy.
It's a Morgan Spurlock rat documentary. This played some festivals. It played Fantastic Fest, and then the Discovery Channel bought it and played it on a couple days before Halloween, or maybe it was like a week before Halloween. They played it, and it's okay. I mean, it really does get under your skin. It's very creepy. Rats are horrifying. Now, I see rats every day. Every single day I see rats. I live in New York. I see rats. In fact, just the other night I was walking home, and on my way home from work, they're doing construction on this one area of the street, and they have these it's a civilian walkway that's set up where it's sort of enclosed. It's not scaffolding, but it's like a little tunnel that you go through. And I was walking home. It was in the evening. I was by myself. Nobody was around me, and a rat scurried right across the walkway. I mean, inches away from my feet. It scared the shit out of me. So when I see them from afar, when I see them from a distance, they don't they don't bother me, but it's more like the fact that they come out of nowhere, and it startles you.
It's just the surprise element. Yeah.
But the thing that this documentary gets into is the fact that they're multiplying, they're growing in numbers. As many as we kill hundreds of thousands of these things, even millions, they're multiplying quicker than we can exterminate them. And not only that, but the amount of disease that they carry is unbelievable. Like they're just like, because their immune systems are so resistant to everything, and they like now the way that their bodies are mutating, they're studying these rats because they're evolving so quickly. Like the rodenticide that used to kill them, they're now becoming immune to.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's not even stopping them. And what's happening is they're eating the rodenticide, and other animals are eating the rats, and then those animals are dying because they're getting poisoned. And it's just it's a really gross movie. If you have a thing, if rats creep you out, oh my God, stay away from this one, because rats don't even bother me. And watching it, I almost had to look away at certain points in this, because it is horrific. Especially because
I just always think like rats are disgusting, but at the same time, I just think of like worse than rats.
Yeah.
Like cockroaches are worse than rats.
Yeah. Cockroaches are those bother me more than rats, because cockroaches can get in your house, whereas rats can get in your house too, but it's more likely.
They're kind of easier to find too. They're noisier. They're bigger.
Yeah, they're a lot bigger.
You can essentially find them and kick them if you have to, if need be.
Mm-hmm.
Cockroaches, they're kind of stealth.
I hate roaches. Ugh. But at any rate, the movie's okay. They go to different cities and talk about different problems in the cities, and then just different. They go to these labs where they're studying rats, and there's this like temple in India where they worship the rats because they believe that when your relatives die, they turn into rats, and then when that rat dies, they turn back into a human. So there's this like temple where it's filled. It has, I think they said 35,000 rats in it, and it's religion. It's weird. But there's a lot of really interesting facts and things. You see a lot of rats get killed in it, which is not pleasant, and you see a lot of rats be dissected and studied.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, there's a lot of really gross rat stuff that happens in this. Oh, one other thing that bothered me about this movie. There was this low chirp that would happen. It was part of the soundtrack. It was part of the music. And this chirp would happen sporadically every few seconds. And I thought I was going crazy, but I confirmed that it did exist. My wife was watching too. And it was like just this little chirping noise. And it was part of the score. And I think that it was designed to kind of make you feel more uneasy, because it was the way that it's presented, it's like a horror movie. But the chirping drove me insane. I don't understand why they made the decision to put that in the movie, but it was horrible. And it happened through the entire runtime.
Oh, I watched another documentary.
Yeah?
Wow. Solid doc right there.
I wasn't a big... I didn't mention this when I talked about it, sorry. I didn't like the whole lyrics thing that popped up on the screen.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that when I talked about it.
I didn't mind at first because it was Killer Mike. I was like, hell yeah. And then when she did the Dead Prez too, I was like, nice.
Yeah. It's been a while since I heard Dead Prez.
Which, Jesus Christ. I mean, that reminded me too. I was like, immediately, I was like, oh my God, Dead Prez. Man, that was a strong album.
Oh, yeah. I listened to that just over and over and over again.
I love that CD. 13th, that is a good documentary. You need to watch that. People watch that. It is, I mean, I got to give it to her. Yes, it's slightly kind of like an introductory style, where it's kind of like just going over the big points, like, throughout. but just the way of the amount of information she gets across, and the way that she does it, there's such an order to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean,
especially at the beginning, there's like a nice. It's almost as if it's a primer at the beginning, just to kind of fill you in on how we got here.
And then they go through the history of it. And yes, yeah, you can throw out to her that, she could have put more in there. And yes, I'm sure she would agree with that too. Yeah, I mean, you could make a just ridiculously long, like think of like 7 Lav Diaz movies put together, documentary on the injustices of the 13th Amendment and everything that goes into it. But man, from the outset, I was just hooked. I was so into this documentary. And the one thing that just caught me off guard, I've made it a point to not watch any of the videos of, the unarmed black men that have been killed by police. And then she throws them in there at the end, and you have to watch them. That was, because I haven't seen those before.
No, neither have I. I don't watch that stuff.
And just to watch them one after another, it's just, what the fuck?
I know, it's terrible.
The fuck? That's a rough one. That's a rough watch, but it's an important watch, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. I hope that the people that need to see that movie somehow see it.
That's the thing that should be like high school history class.
Yeah.
You should have to show that shit.
I feel like that should be required viewing in schools.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%. I'm right there with you. Like that's the kind of stuff because she goes over some of the stuff that, yes, I found out later through like kind of my own curiosity of learning about things, but so much of that stuff did not hear a fucking word of it in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't remember learning about any of that stuff in high school.
No, I don't think so.
It's like you just learn about the good things, the positive things.
Well, so much of high school is just like World War II, we were the fucking greatest.
Yeah.
And the Civil War. And then it seems like anything else that has to do with America, they're just like, nah, we won't really talk about that.
No, yeah, we're not going to get into that. We don't. Who has the time?
What about Vietnam? It was complicated, okay? Back to World War II. We saved the entire world. Do you understand?
Oh God! It's because World War II is just so easy to. I mean, it's not, but
it's so clear cut.
That's the thing. There's a very very clear enemy.
Yeah, it's essentially a Hollywood movie. The way that they've kind of cast it is like it's black and white. This guy was fucking evil as shit. We saved the entire world. Forever heroes. You can't judge us.
Yep. All right, so that's 13th. That's on Netflix. So everybody should be checking that one out. I saw a film called Private Property. This is from 1960, directed by Leslie Stevens. This was an interesting one. Got the Cinelicious remastered this and put it out on Blu-ray. This is one of these films that was just kind of lost for decades and decades. Because when this movie came out, it did not get approval by the motion picture ratings board at the time. I can't remember what they were called back then. It wasn't the MPAA. It was like the MPDPA or something like that. And they did not rate it because it was a little racy. It was a little. There was some sexy stuff in it. There was some murder. It was definitely more adult than most movies that were coming out in 1960. And as a result, it got a very limited art house release here in the States. And it achieved modest success over in Europe. It did pretty well over there. But over here, it just kind of played for 2 weeks in one art house theater, and then it just faded away into obscurity. And UCLA, the film archive at UCLA, they uncovered some of these lost reels for this film, and then they decided to remaster it. So they remastered it in 4K. And when you see this, it's pretty incredible. I mean, this movie, it's jarring when you see this because it looks like a modern movie that was just shot in black and white and meant to look old. Very, very interesting. So the movie's about these two guys who are they're drifters. They happen to see this beautiful woman at a gas station that they're hanging out at, and they decide to follow her because one of the two guys is a virgin. So they're going to try to win this girl so he can lose his virginity. And they end up breaking into the house next door to where this woman lives and spying on her. And then the one guy decides to start talking to her and trying to seduce her, even though she's married. And things just kind of escalate from there, and it has a violent conclusion. I wrote a review for this. I reviewed the Blu-ray, and I liked it. It was pretty good. I was surprised. I didn't think I would think too much of it because it sounded like it was a really low budget movie, very small cast, and I was thinking, it's probably going to be kind of cheesy, but it was actually the way that it was shot. The cinematography in this movie is incredible, and that was what really kind of threw me, is that the cinematography was so good. I mean, this is the cameraman in this. He would go on to, I don't have his name in front of me right now, but he would go on to do the cinematography for American Beauty and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and some really Road to Perdition, some really heavy visual movies. And it was great. Ted McCord is his name. And Ted McCord was the cinematographer on this movie. Conrad Hall was the camera operator. Ted McCord would go on. He would do, he did Sound of Music. He did the cinematography for Sound of Music. So, yeah, some talented people behind this one. Leslie Stevens, the writer and director, was the creator of The Outer Limits. Remember that show, The Outer Limits?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he created The Outer Limits. And they shot the movie in his house. So the whole movie takes place in his home. And the female lead, Kate Manx, was married to Leslie Stevens at the time. So they were husband and wife. And interestingly, she committed suicide shortly after this movie came out. So there's this kind of haunting quality to it, knowing that, shortly after this is released, she ends her own life. But I would recommend checking it out. The Blu-ray's pretty decent. It's like a DVD Blu-ray combo. There's not really anything as far as special features, but it's kind of understandable considering most people never even heard of this movie.
Yeah, the special features, them saving.
Yeah, yeah. But I gotta say, the restoration is incredible. I mean, there's no dust, there's no film degradation, like there's nothing. It looks so pristine. There's some weird editing, but I don't know if that was in the original print or something that happened during the restoration. There's some really just strange transitions and things that happen. But either way, I would check it out. It's called Private Property from 1960.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. Definitely. I think you would love the cinematography. It has this kind of voyeuristic quality to it. So almost all of the camera shots are from behind something. So you're looking through, there's one scene where there's an half empty glass of whiskey, and you're kind of looking through that. And then there's windows and bushes and these kind of, these shots where everything feels like you're watching this unfold. Good stuff though.
Yeah, I watched Hunt for the Wilderpeople.
Oh, well, Taika Waititi.
Yeah, God, oh, love it.
How incredible is he as a director? Holy crap!
It just ticks every box that I have for this certain mood that I'm in, this certain experience of I just want to enjoy myself, and I want to have fun, and I want to laugh. And I also want there to be some heart in there.
Mm-hmm.
He has the perfect mixture of everything. It's just, I don't know what it is, but man, is it feel comfy.
Oh yeah, I loved this movie. Absolutely loved it.
When you settle in to watch it, you're just yes, please don't ever stop. It's just like a wonderful blanket that you never want to take off on forever and ever. It's just,
Yeah, I would say if you haven't seen this one yet, I think it's one of the year's best movies for sure. Sam Neill.
Oh, it's just funny. The only thing that I didn't know, the Reese Darby's character, the Psycho Sam, that was a bit. It's where it kind of it didn't come off the rails exactly, but it started to shake a little bit.
It was pretty. He was pretty funny, but he was
short.
Yeah. What's the quickest way to get out of here? Jetpack. You have a jetpack. You have a jetpack? No. What?
I just love when why do they call him Psycho Sam? And then he immediately says something ridiculous, and he's like, "Oh, never mind." Oh man,
Yeah,
that's good
I
stuff.
really want to watch this again. How did you watch this?
On DVD from
Uh,
Netflix, which they still do. Like if you ask Netflix, they'll still send you one in the mail,
hmm.
and you can put it in your PS3 and watch it.
uh,
Put it in your PS3 with your 28-inch TV. Just fucking have at it.
Turn those subtitles on.
You
Volume down
gotta
to
have
3.
a set. I mean, New Zealand. I mean, they speak English, but do they? I mean, not to be rude, but is standard without the subtitles. But I can't really understand normal American English without subtitles. I have a problem understanding words that come out of people's mouths,
I have that sometimes, not too often.
especially phones. Like I can't understand anyone on the phone anymore.
I think it's a sign of
It
age,
is.
maybe.
I just think that like every person I talk to, their phone is way too close to their mouth.
Could
I just
be.
can't figure out what they're saying.
Could be. All right, I saw Last Girl Standing. This is it's a horror movie on VOD right now. It's directed by Benjamin R. Moody. This is kind of an interesting one in that the film starts with the final girl getting away from the killer and murdering him, killing the killer and getting away. And the rest of the movie is her trying to put the pieces of her life back together. And it's sort of a character study on what something like this would do to you, psychologically, mentally.
Yeah.
And obviously she has post-traumatic stress disorder
Imagine that
from
she would have
this
some trouble.
because all of her friends were viciously and brutally murdered in front of her. And it's just about her trying to live a normal life after this horrible thing happened. And it is a horror movie. At first I was like, "Oh, well, I don't even know if this is a horror movie." But they do go back to a more kind of typical horror movie setting towards the end of the movie. And that's kind of where it lost me, unfortunately. But everything up until that point, I was really into it. I thought that it was really interesting to kind of explore the ramifications of surviving a slasher.
Yeah, that is an interesting premise.
Yeah, it was fairly well done too, and the effects work was good. It gets very violent at the end, and while I wasn't quite into how everything played out, it was still pretty well done. So I'd say it's a light recommend for me. It's called Last Girl Standing.
Yeah,
You don't have any other ones?
I did not watch anything else. No.
The only other one that I saw was Doctor Strange.
Ooh,
Yeah, so this is directed by
I
Scott
almost
Derrick.
saw this.
You'll like it. It's well worth a look. It's not
Oh, really?
it's not exactly what you would expect. It's a superhero movie, so you should expect some of those tropes in there, but it's definitely a different kind of superhero movie. It's so Benedict Cumberbatch plays Doctor Strange, and the interesting thing about this one is that it's more of a spiritual kind of metaphysical take on the Marvel universe. So it's dealing with parallel timelines and dimensions and things like that, like things that are beyond what the eye can see. And there's this whole like mirror dimension that they go in, which is really crazy because it's like infinite instances of reality folded onto itself, and it's a really trippy movie, and they really kind of play with that. And like some of the abilities of these people is that they can actually bend matter. So that's where you see this kind of Inception-esque thing taking place, and they can sort of run on walls and ceilings and things like that. And there's a particular action scene that happens at the end. I'm not going to give it away, but it was incredible. It was so cool what they did with it. And I liked this more than what I expected. I really had no expectations going into it. I wanted to see it just because it's a Marvel movie, but I'm not a big fan of Doctor Strange, and I was just like, it looks okay.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. Mads Mikkelsen is the villain, and he plays a really good villain. Really good villain. Tilda Swinton kills it in this. She's awesome in it too.
looking forward to this one, I think.
Oh yeah, I think.
Or at least that I'm interested enough to actually go to a theater and see it.
Yeah, I mean it's worth it to see it in the theater just because this is the most visual of all the Marvel movies. I mean, it's they really like Scott Derrickson really has fun with the fact that you can really do whatever you want in this world, and so there's a lot of really trippy kind of crazy visuals that happen.
All right.
Yeah, it's very cool. So I would recommend checking out Doctor Strange. I mean, it wasn't my favorite of all the Marvel movies, but it was another solid entry. So there's that. Speaking of Doctor Strange, let's move on and talk about some predictions.
Do it.
So you said 84, I said 86 on Doctor Strange. Actual 90. Yep. Trolls. You said 50, I said 64. Actual 84. I can't believe people are liking this Trolls movie. I still won't. There's just no way I'm going to see it. No way. I didn't even like Trolls as a kid. I never understood the whole troll thing. I think my rationale is like their legs and arms don't even move. They have 0 points of articulation.
Yeah, yeah. And at that point, you're like, how do you even play with this?
Exactly. What, it has hair? So what?
Yeah, break.
Big effing deal. I guess it was more of a girl toy. I think they were marketed more.
I guess it was like the original because they were like they're in cubicles and stuff.
Yeah.
They predate like all the vinyl toys now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'd rather have I like vinyl toys, but
they're essentially trolls.
They're cooler
trolls
though.
In your cubicle. Do you have a cubicle?
But who wants to look at a fucking ugly troll in your cubicle? Jeez. I have 2 vinyl toys on my desk. One is an alien figure, and then one is Jason Voorhees. And I look at those, and they make me smile. If I had a stupid, ugly troll on my desk, I'd look at it and want to punch someone.
I would like to see someone to go kind of in depth with that. As to what do people see when they look at, like, what's common about them or soothing? Like, what is it? Like,
maybe that's the thing.
Look at a troll, though. What do they think?
You have to stroke their hair.
I guess
their coarse hair.
I guess it's kind of like a stress ball, but you stroke the hair instead of squeeze the ball.
Maybe, I don't know. I never was into them. Hacksaw Ridge. You said 80, I said 84. Actual 87 on that one. And finally, we have Loving. You said 86, I said 85. Actual 89.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you got 1 out of those 4.
Fantastic.
Next week, we have Arrival, the new Denis Villeneuve.
Nice.
Amy Adams.
Go see a movie at the theater.
Are you excited for this one today?
I am.
Sci-fi, aliens,
I like
linguistics.
Sci-fi. I like sci-fi. Give it to me.
Do you like linguistics?
I'm a fan of linguistics. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So what are you thinking on Arrival?
Thinking 86.
All right. I think it's going to be pretty good too. I'll say 85. Then we have Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk.
No one thought to change the title of this film.
Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. I mean, I can't even say it and keep a straight face.
I know. I didn't even say it yet. I'm laughing. When I first heard about it, I was like, that's not the title of it, right? Can't be. That's not the title of the film. But guess what? That's the title of the film. It's truly called Billy Lynn's Long Halftime.
I mean, are we the only people that find this title to be ridiculous? I should look it up because I have a feeling that other people find it equally ridiculous. That is the worst title ever.
It's awful. It is awful.
Also, I read that it was shot in, I don't know if it was 48 frames per second, or maybe it's screened in. It's a very high frame rate that it's screened in. It looks really bad to me.
Yeah, I can see Ang Lee doing that.
I'll say I think it's still going to be pretty well received though, so I'll say 76 on it.
I'm going to say 62.
All right. And we have Shut In. This is the one that's a thriller with Naomi Watts, I believe.
Okay.
What are you thinking on this one? I don't know too much about this one, actually.
I've never even heard of this. I'm going to say 42.
I'll say 38 on that one.
Okay.
And we have Elle. We'll do that one anyway. That's only getting a limited release, I believe. I doubt that's going to be playing in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania.
No, I mean, the only way it'll play here is if it's a Christian movie, and I don't think Elle's a Christian movie.
All right, Elle. What are you thinking on this? I'll do that first. I'll say 87.
I'll say 83.
All right. Next week in limited release, we also have Almost Christmas, The Monster, which I'm actually interested in that one. Yeah, that one seems intriguing. I'm intrigued by this one. What else do we have? The Love Witch.
All
that
right.
one, yeah, that one's definitely worth checking out, especially because it's probably going to be screening in 35 millimeter. At least it is around here. So yeah, check that out. USS Indianapolis, Men of Courage.
Oh God!
It's an amazing floating head poster. This poster, it contains all the tropes.
Everything you could ever want.
It's teal and orange. It's got floating heads.
It's got Nicolas Cage.
Yep.
What more do you want, honestly?
All right, next week on VOD, we have The Frontier that comes out this Tuesday, the 8th. And then on Friday, we have Dreamland and The Monster. Okay. So I'll probably be checking out The Monster. On Blu-ray next week, this is for November 8th, we have... Bubba Hotep's getting a re-release. It's interesting. Actually, I don't know if that ever came out on Blu-ray.
I don't think it did.
I don't think it did either. We have Sausage Party. Arrow is putting out The Initiation. That's a movie I saw for the first time not too long ago. It was okay. Looks like Taxi Driver's getting a new Blu-ray release. Great cover. Morris from America. That's pretty much it.
All right.
What do we have on Criterion next week?
Oh, man. We got one, and that's a box set. Lone Wolf and Cub.
Oh, boy.
All the Lone Wolf and Cub films.
507 minutes.
All found in one place. And you know what they even do? It's not, it's good enough that they have Lone Wolf and Cub, but they also give you a high definition presentation of Shogun Assassin.
Nice.
So you get the Lone Wolf and Cub movies, but you also get Shogun Assassin.
That's how I was introduced to Lone Wolf and Cub.
I mean, that's incredible. You also get a new interview with the writer. There's a silent documentary about the making of samurai swords. There's other documentaries on there. What more do you want from Lone Wolf and Cub? And plus, it just looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's got a really awesome cover. Looks like it's a 3-disc Blu-ray set. 6 movies.
Shogun Assassin. They even threw that in there.
Hell yeah.
Get it.
All right. I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/FilmPulse, and consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.